All right. Relentless Game, turning life's chaos into power. Today, we're going to talk about why you are still stuck, regardless of how hard you keep trying. You're stuck in this same loop. You keep trying to do the hard things. You do the 75 hard over and over again. You change your diet up, and this time you're going to fast for 3 days in a row. And then you go right back to your old habits when you fall off. And this is it's an endless loop. I see it all the time with guys where we're doing it the difficult way. I used to be that guy until I just started to understand that running into that same wall over and over again, when there's a door right there next to it, it's like, why don't we just open the door and walk through that instead of trying to run through this wall? And that's what I see with a lot of guys. And that's what we're going to do today is we're going to break down the reasons why you are this way. And a lot of it goes back to the way we've been, when you look at the Army, you look at 75 hard, you look at all these things that guys have to go through to get to some type of position or whatever. Sometimes it's hard, but when it comes to like getting in shape, especially if it's something that you're not an athlete anymore, is staying in shape and getting in shape. It doesn't have to be difficult. And that's all we want to do is we want to break down the stories, the lies that you're telling yourself so we can be able to point you in the right direction. So one of the biggest things is foundationally things are off. And what I mean by that is you don't really have a way of eating when it comes to your nutrition. You don't have a workout program. You're kind of going into the day. You wake up, you go and grab a coffee first thing in the morning, or you run through Chick-fil-A and grab you a chicken biscuit or whatever it may be. And your habits and the way that you do things and foundationally, you just don't have any like structure. And since you don't have a game plan, then it's one of those things where you keep doing the same things over and over again and trying to do it the hard way and falling off. I was that guy forever, dude. I would go and I would eat really, really good all week long. And then on the weekend, I would just sabotage everything that I had built. It was because I was doing it the hard way myself. So what would you say some foundational things that you see with individuals when they're trying to start just getting better all the way around?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like what you said, whenever you're working hard during the week and then the weekend looks completely different than what the week does. Mm-hmm. And so inconsistency is going to lead to inconsistent results. Mm-hmm. And so whatever area, and some people, they are consistent, but they're consistently doing the wrong thing. So they're consistently going through the drive-through in the morning. They're consistently doing all these things that are getting them the results that they don't want to get. So with that same intensity, they need to switch that and do a 180 and start to have some consistency in those other areas that are going to help them get the right results. But I think that's what it is. It's people that are staying stuck, they lack consistency on the right things. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a clear game plan. And then with that, not having a clear game plan, they don't have anything that they can stay consistent on. But if every day looks different for you, you're not going to get consistent results.
So there's no structure.
No structure.
There's no clarity on like what the problems actually are.
Yep.
Because most guys are asleep at the wheel. Like most guys are just like they're getting through the day and they're so pumped up because it's Thursday or Friday and it's about to be the weekend again. Mm-hmm. And if you're living for the weekend because your life is just in this place of like, there's no clarity of anything that you're working towards. You're lying to yourself about where you actually are and your actual results and actual problems. Or you're just putting your hands over your eyes and just going like, nothing, everything's good. I'm good. Everything's fine. But the actual problem is like, there's no clarity on like why you're doing what you're doing. And there's no clarity. There's no structure. Then there's no, then you're going to start to stop over and over and over again from there. So that's the one that's like foundationally, like you were talking about is we have to have clarity on where we want to go, but we also have to have clarity on where we're beginning. Mm-hmm. What are the facts of my current situation? When you get to the facts, now we can go, okay, these are the facts. I am, like right now, today, 216 pounds. Okay? feelings wise, if I was just looking at 216 and I didn't have like the background of where I actually am, like, a couple of years ago, 200 was like my goal.
Yeah.
And so if I was looking at 216, I would look at, I've fallen off. But by getting to the facts, I can see like, well, Seth, actually, you've been going through a bulk phase where you've put on 10 pounds of muscle and 4 pounds of fat. Now that makes me feel a little bit better because now I can go, okay, well, only 2.5 weeks ago, I was like 230.
Yep.
Now I'm down to 216 because we're cutting down and we're going. So it's getting to the facts of the current situation that you are in and where you are right now and what you've been going through. Because once you get to the facts, then you can look at the feelings. So when I look at the facts of going, I'm 216, my feelings are, I'm starting to see some real results now. I'm starting to drop some weight. I'm starting to feel better. My sleep's on a whole nother level. And it's because I track all these things and able to look at all these things. And so that's the first one. The other side, and I'll let you talk about this one, is like that athlete mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's where guys try to, and you hate hearing it, is, yeah, man, back in the day, back in my day, I used to do this, and this. Well, bro, like, it's not that day anymore. You know what I mean? So what you did in the past is not going to get you the results.
Why are you wearing your leather jacket when you're 35 years old?
Exactly. Still living in the past.
Got my state championship ring.
And what you did in the past is not going to help you get results for what you do in the future. And this is what I love about what we do about the GA, or what we do in the GA, is, for us, the week is the funnest part because we do the game planning on the weekend and we get to see all of that structure and all those goals and tasks that we set on the weekend, and we get to go play the game during the week. And so for a lot of guys that are hating the week because they don't like their job, they're not tracking any of their tasks, they don't take care of themselves throughout the week, and they're just looking for the weekend so they can go out, they can go drink, they can go do whatever it is that they're going to do, but they're kind of hiding from the lifestyle that they have during the week on the weekend. And It's because they don't have any goals that they're tracking. And that's why it's fun for you. Like with your fitness, yeah, you were 230, but you also had a way to track. You got your DEXA scan and you go, dude, look at all the muscle I put on. So now let's cut and let's start to cut down. And then you'll do another DEXA scan and see your progress from there. But that's why we love the week, is because we're playing the game during the week. We're tracking our progress. And that's what makes us love our job, because we're leveling up. But if you're never leveling up and never really gamifying your life, you're not going to enjoy the process and the journey you're going through.
And like, why as athletes did you like why'd you like to be an athlete? Because there was a competition.
Yep. There's a brotherhood.
There's a brotherhood, a competition. You could look at the scoreboard and see, hey, we're winning.
Yep.
And when you get into real life and you get out of college or you get out of high school or whatever it may be, and you get into the real world, you get to building your life. You get to, maybe you get married, maybe you have kids, maybe you get that job that you were looking for. You get there, and then you forget about all the things that you had back when you were in college and high school. If you were lucky enough, or not necessarily lucky, but you put in the work and you made it to college and you were able to play some type of sports in college. Mm-hmm. You had that brotherhood. When I was in college, I was a part of fraternity. We still had competitions and stuff that we had, athletic competitions that we do. We do Spring Fest and things like that. Stuff that just got you, like, you look forward to. And so you start making decisions a little bit different, because now you actually are going, hey, we got that. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, you had an event. Mm-hmm. Like, you're thinking about your food. You're thinking about what you're eating, because now you know that, like, I'm going to this event, I'm going to have to be moving a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
And like, there's going to be other people watching me. And
if you don't put the work in, then the result that you put on the table that day, it's going to show, oh, that dude didn't do what he was supposed to. Or if he did, then it's going to show that dude got after it.
Yeah. And so that's the piece of it is we got to tap into that old version, that athlete, that mindset of, not that it has to be hard and you got to go and do tough practices and stuff like that. The other side of it, that were all the qualities that made you the great athlete, was, I have this goal of winning the championship. I have something I'm working towards. I'm putting in the practice every day. I'm doing the little stuff. And it don't have to be that serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like back when you were like when we were playing sports and stuff, don't have to be that serious, but you definitely have to have something that you're working towards. You need to have a brotherhood, and we need to have a way of gamifying it so our mind is the happiest when it's seeing progress, and we can track that progress. Next thing is, you got such poor habits. The cokes that you're drinking, the beers, the alcohol that you're drinking, the staying up late to watch the games when you're in the middle of the week. Like, we have the best basketball team in Oklahoma in the playoffs right now. We're tied 2-2 with Denver. Like, they're going to play at 8:30 tonight?
Yep.
I will not stay up until midnight to watch that game.
Yeah.
Love the Thunder. I may wake up in the middle of the night and have to pee and go check the score.
Yeah.
But I'm not staying up because my life and my game that I'm playing is more important than the game that they're playing. Now, I want them to win the championship. No doubt about it. I want them to go in, and I want them to play, and I want them to win the championship. But I'm playing a game of life. And that game of life telling me that, like, I got to get to bed at this time so I can wake up, so I can be in the green, so my recovery can be there, because I've got to work out. I've got clients I got to hold accountable. I've got my family that I got to be there for. And so that's what that's where we start to build some habits. And now we start to change some things where we start to say, hey, you know what? What time are you going to bed right now? Like, that's like, I'm literally having conversations with grown men about what time they go to bed.
Yeah.
What time you waking up? What's your nutrition look like? Like, all these things that like are very, very basic, but we have gone off the deep end when it comes to like not focusing on these small habits. And those small habits pay dividends because they're impacting like things as far as men go, your testosterone. And when your testosterone's low, it's one of those things that impacts everything. It impacts your sex life. It impacts your energy. It impacts your confidence. It impacts everything. And most guys are just going through life with their hands over their eyes, and they have no clue what their testosterone is. They have no clue if any of that stuff. A lot of them don't even know how much they weigh. And that's the thing when it comes to gamifying life. Most guys only know if what the scale says and how much they weigh, or what their bank account says. Those are the only two ways that they really measure. And so we're real big on, hey, let's get our testosterone and let's check and see what we're at, so we can start to make little pivots and little tweaks. That's what the game 1A is about. Little pivots, little tweaks. And recently I put together something called the Drive Protocol, because we had a conversation with a guy that's a client who is at this place where wife's a little bit younger. He can't take testosterone right now because he's 10 years older than his wife. They may want to have another kid, but his like performance is off. And so since his performance is off, it's like we have to address the performance and go like, bro, what is the deal? And so he was like, I hadn't even tested my testosterone. I was like low 5 years ago. I hadn't had it checked since then. And so I put together something called Drive Protocol for him. I'm actually giving that away for free. If you go to my bios on Instagram and Facebook, you can get those for free at Seth P. Humphrey. I think it's Seth.P.Humphrey on Instagram. You go to my bio and you can download that for free, where we're giving you simple habits and tweaks to be able to, and we gamified it as well. So you can just be able to boost your testosterone and change your habits a little bit, so you start feeling better from there. What do you have something else you want to add on that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think you're totally right about how one habit that you do can impact all those other areas. And so, yeah, you not getting good sleep, it's going to impact how you get up at that next morning. You're going to want to sleep in. And then that's going to impact how you show up to work and treat your coworkers. And then that's going to lead in, if you have a bad day at work, then it's going to lead into how you treat your wife whenever you get off at work. So just controlling and setting targets on each individual habit, they all are linked together and tie into helping you be successful on another level. So yeah, you've got to have these clear, measurable things that you're tracking on a daily basis. And I think it's with a lot of dudes is they lag, they don't have purpose. And we got to have purpose in order to want to continue to go in the right direction and want to do the things to set us up for success. But you got to have purpose. And if you don't have purpose, then you're not going to want to to do the right things that you got to do on a daily basis.
So we've already said it before, like the lying to yourself and not getting to the facts. That also starts to, especially with Christian men, if you're lying and you're not ever identifying your actual results of like where you are and looking at the facts about where you're starting, and you're praying like, God, like point me in the right direction, guide me, but you're not being honest about, hey, I'm eating all the way up until bedtime, and I'm overeating or whatever it may be, or I'm drinking alcohol, or I'm not, and you're not addressing these facts of like, these are problems that we need to address, but you're praying that God's going to change something. Understand that when we lie, that God's not going to come in and start to help someone that's lying about what's going on. If you're coming and you're dropping to your knees going like, these are the facts, and I'm a big liar, and this is where I'm at, I need your help. Where truth is, God is, and where God is, transformation is, and God can then make a transformation with you and in you because you're being honest about where you actually are. Mm-hmm. But a lot of guys are asleep at the wheel. They have their hands over their eyes, and they think that everything's all great because they're not addressing the actual problem. And that's where we got to start is addressing that. That's why part of the Game 180 is we're getting in the Bible every day. We're getting in the Bible. We're doing a Bible stack. We're learning, and we're taking that wisdom that we've learned from our life that we can start to see inside the Bible, and then apply that wisdom to our life and see where we need to change and where we need to identify like, hey, this is something I need to get better at. This is something I need to start doing. This is something I need to stop doing. This is something I need to sustain and continue to do. And now we can actually take the wisdom from the Word, apply it to our life to be able to start getting results as far as that goes.
A lot of guys that get to that point, though, where they're saying a powerful prayer like that, of admitting that, hey, this is not the person that I want to be. I need you to give me some clarity. And if they reach out to us too, and the same thing, guys that get to that point are guys that are ready to make a change. Mm-hmm. But the more that you continue to lie to yourself and try to cover it up and act like this isn't the truth, when you know deep down that it is the truth, you're going to stay stuck. You're not going to be able to move forward. So 100% admitting the position that you currently are and go, hey, I do need help, but I need some direction on this. And a lot of guys, they lack a relationship with God too, man. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a relationship with Him, then you're not going to have any clarity. You're not going to have somebody that you can turn to whenever things do get difficult, whenever things do get hard, because you're gonna deal with things, whether it be worry, whether it be, and that was a big one for me, man, is I always used to worry a lot. And then I was able to form a relationship with God, and it's crazy how all those chains just get broken off of you when you can just give that worry to somebody that loves you like your Father in Christ. And so, I think if you don't have a relationship with God, it's something that you should just humbly fall at your knees and at your feet and try to form that relationship with Him. And then
with honesty,
100%, bring it to Him, then He's going to lay out the plan. And what's cool about that is He'll lay it out for you, and it might not be what you wanted. It might not be the answer that you wanted, but if you take action on that, you're going to see your life level up and get some clarity that you need to live the life that you want.
I would say another issue is like the motivation game. Guys think that they have to be motivated. Like, mm-hmm. I wish I had some motivation. I need some motivation. I'm just not motivated. Again, I think the motivation side of that goes back to having a game that you're playing. That we don't need motivation. We need some type of a plan and strategy to put into play, and have the facts of where you're starting. Now let's put a plan and to overcome the obstacle that's standing in front of you. And now what starts to happen is we can start to make simple changes. And by those simple changes, what starts to happen is it starts to build momentum. And that momentum starts to lead to motivation, because now you are starting to see results. You're starting to feel better. You're seeing that what you're putting into play is actually working. You have more energy, you have more clarity, you have more focus. And now what starts to happen is it's like, oh, I'm motivated by my results and what's happening in me right now, instead of riding that momentum, instead of sitting back going, one of these days I'm going to be motivated. And it's like, no, you're not. You're not going to wake up motivated until like the doctor says like, hey bro, like you got clogged arteries and like you're close to having a heart attack, or your wife comes to you and says, hey, I'm out. Like you're like a shell of yourself. Then you'll be motivated to change. So we don't need motivation. We need momentum. And how you get momentum is having a strategy that you can put into play that's simple, and consistent with. And the more we follow that, then the momentum starts to roll in, and now we start rolling. And then once we start rolling, it's like it's hard to beat you when you're firing from all cylinders that way. So
yeah, that's good, man. Because motivation is just it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Feelings are temporary.
Yeah.
You might we don't wake up every day motivated,
Yeah.
but we know, hey, this is the time that we get up. This is the things that we do first thing when we get up. We get into the Bible. We seek knowledge from God, and then that just starts to open up our day. And we have, in the GA, we have tasks that we're doing that we had set out at the beginning of the week. This is what we're going to be doing, and so we've got that structure. And then once we see ourselves check off that target, it's just stacking bricks. You stack bricks, get momentum, and that's it, man. Once you get momentum, then you can't be stopped.
So inside of the Game to 180, we have what we call the Exodus protocol. The Exodus protocol is like, now you're at this place in your life where it's the Game to 180. We're taking a pivot. So when you think about 180 is you're going this direction, and we just pivot and we go the opposite direction. And we do that through the Exodus protocol. And the Exodus protocols come in 3 different places. One, we've got to start changing your mindset and the way that you think. We start changing the way you think around nutrition. We start changing the way you think about workouts. We start changing what you think about your routine. And we start putting in proven ways to be able to get you start to moving in the right direction. That's the first piece, is you start to change your mind. Then by you changing the way you think about something, on the other side, we can be able to start to make a transformation in our body. And so we want to weaponize that mind by questioning the thoughts and questioning the stories we're telling ourselves and getting to the facts of our current situation. And then we can start to transform our body, because we've transformed our mind and our way, our thinking. Because understand, you know what the good food is, you know what bad food is. You know what a workout is, and you know what sitting on the couch is. You know what getting steps is, you know what running is. You know all the things. Like, it's not a question on what needs to be done. You know that if you're waking up tired every day, that you have a sleeping issue. There's like these things that we know. And so it's like, instead of just putting our hands over our eyes and going like, everything's going to get great, we've got to start changing the way we think. We change the way we think, then we can transform our body. We provide you with workouts. We provide you with nutrition. We provide you with accountability and structure. Now we have 2 phases. Now our mind's starting to change. Our body's starting to change. And then on the other side of that, we're putting in and we're implementing, getting in the Bible, and that's starting to change our thinking as well. Mm-hmm. And now we start to hit it in those 3 different angles, because every Christian man knows that you need to get in the Bible every day. You already know that. That's not a question. Like, it's like, should I do this? It's like, yeah, you should be doing it every day. And we know the results that guys get when they start getting in the Bible every day. So we start changing the way you think by, 1, teaching you different ways when it comes to getting in shape and around nutrition and around your habits. And by doing that, that starts to change your results physically. But by also getting in the Bible, it starts to transform your mind when you're not leaning on your own understanding. And you start to understand, like, foundationally, there's wisdom that's pointing us in the direction that we need to go. We get all 3 of these pieces together. And then you have a morning routine with the core 4 that's giving us predictive power in the morning, because like you said, we're not always motivated, but with tapping into our core 4, we have predictive power that's like shielding us. So when we walk into the day, we know that problems are coming. We know that issues are coming. And instead of walking in going, hope everything works out today, it's walking in and weaponizing yourself mentally, physically, by getting in the Bible, by doing your little simple habits that we put into play when it comes to our core 4. And then now we're making momentum because we feel good in the morning time, because when we've gotten great sleep and taken care of little things that we need to do. And now you start showing up differently all the way across the board, in your body, in your mind, but then also spiritually, like building that way as well. And that's what ultimately with the Game 180 is, get you a system, a structure, a brotherhood, a strategy, accountability, and just start like looking and identifying the problems that you're dealing with, and give you a solution to those problems on that side of it. So that's what we do with the Game to 180. You want to add anything there?
Yeah, man, the accountability aspect. And at the end of the day, all this is great, But if you don't put the work in on a daily basis, it's not going to be, it's just a game plan here. But if you're not putting it into play, it's not going to work. And that's what sets us apart from anything else, is the accountability and the brotherhood, because we know, like, hey, I'm going to hit my targets. Even if I let myself down, I'm not going to let you down. I've got so much love for you. So I know, like, hey, at the end of the week, we're going to look at our targets. We're going to see where we're at. We're going to see where our numbers are. And I'm going to make sure that my numbers are going to be top notch, because not only do I not want to let myself down, but I don't want to let my brother down either. And so I think that's what a lot of guys lack, is accountability. Yeah. They don't have anyone that they're answering to. Their wife's not going to hold them accountable on those things, but then that could impact their relationship with their wife if they're not putting in the work that they need to do. So what they need to do is get around a bunch of killers that want to grow, and then grow with those guys, because then you don't even need motivation, because you've got all the motivation you need, because you're running with a bunch of dudes that are just getting progress and taking action on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yep. So it's Game 180. Actually, right now, I've created a PDF that kind of lays out the structure of and start to point you in the right direction with the Game 180. And so you can start to actually see, oh, this is the things that we'd put into play and how that actually works. And so one of those things is, all you have to do is you can actually DM me Game to 180 or G180, whatever you want to do. You email or you message me, DM me on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll actually send you the PDF so you can just kind of look over it. There's a video on that PDF as well, and you can start to understand a little bit more about what the Game 180 is. If it's something from there that you decide, hey, I'm going to raise my hand and I want to book a strategy session, and we'll jump on a Zoom call and just see if you're a good fit and point you in the right direction there. So would love to help you. We know we have a program that flat out works. We're just looking for the right men who want to step in, who want to first weaponize their body, weaponize their mind, and tap into a relationship with God where it gives it a different way of being able to get in the Bible and gives you a different framework to just look at it. And it really just simplifies it. So it's been the biggest game changer for me, is getting the Bible stack every morning and just taking, hey, these one or two verses and then breaking them down. And then, like, what am I learning? And just identifying all these things that I see. And then where can I put, from what I see, what could I put in my life today to start taking action? Whether it's either I need to start something, stop something, or sustain something. And it starts to lead us in the direction that we want to, that we're ultimately wanting to go. So yeah. Anything else you want to add?
I'm good. We can close it out.
Yep. So for Christian, Seth Humphrey, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, you can DM me, Game to 180, and that is at Seth P. Humphrey on Facebook, and Seth P. Humphrey, just periods in between the Seth and the Humphrey on that for Instagram. So Seth.P.Humphrey there. So you can, and I'll send you that PDF and we can go from there. Give me a follow. You want to give your socials?
Yeah, my Instagram is Boo Trains 6. I think it's Boo_Trains 6. So all things fitness, nutrition, that's where you can find me on Instagram.
All right, so we'll see you on the other side. We appreciate you. If you haven't given us a review, we'll take 5-star reviews left and right. If it's a 1 or 2 star, don't worry about it. You can just not give us a review. We appreciate you. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you on the other side.